Hello and welcome to another episode of the Naked Coach Collective. You're here with me, Ian, this week, and we're being joined by the lovely Jessica Sealey. Jessica is a business mentor and mindset coach specializing in shadow work and simple marketing sales strategies to help you create more financial abundance through your business, obtain inner peace, and have a better life. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
I'm happy
Thank
to
you
be
for
here.
agreeing to join us. Considering we're very small and we're only just starting, it's a pleasure to have you on. Thank you.
Oh, yes.
So
Yes.
Jessica, for people in our audience who don't know you, give us a bit of an intro for yourself.
Yeah, so love the intro. It was really nice to hear that said out loud. It felt good. Um, I've been a business coach for 5 years now. And I specialize in high ticket sales. Like that's typically where I've been sort of niched. And a huge component of my work and my belief system about how it all works is that strategy in sales, whether high ticket or not, honestly makes up like 50, 25, 50%, whereas mindset makes up the 50 to 75%. And that's just like something I really stand by, and I'm sure that will come up later. But to make a long story short, the reason why, like, I've done it all in terms of what I teach around this. And I've helped, I can't even tell you how many people with this now, like hundreds and hundreds of people, sell their high ticket programs. Also, I've helped them scale. But the one thing that I've seen over and over again is just how much entrepreneurship can really amplify a lot of struggles that we have inside of ourselves. And I found that particularly interesting. And then that could really make or break a strategy. So that's why I started really getting curious about the mindset side and started really learning a lot of different tools and techniques to help support the strategic efforts when it comes to high ticket sales mainly, but scaling too. I'm also a mom. I feel like I just always need to say that because I feel like that's a huge part of my identity, as well as just like soft girl era, like peace, chilling, leisure. Like I love my free time. We have to know that about me to get the full picture.
Well, I mean, I don't have kids, so I can't relate to that. But I'm a dog dad, so that's almost the
perfect.
same, isn't
I
it?
used to identify as a cat mom. Yeah.
So, Jessica, tell us how you got into coaching. What was your starting point?
Oh my gosh, I love this story. So, I've always been somebody who just really didn't resonate with working a regular job. Like as soon as I graduated from college, like getting thrust into, your average 9 to 5, I really had challenges with that. And I guess it is important to know too, like I'm neurodivergent, I struggle with ADHD, OCD. So those like pretty bad too. And so sitting at a desk all day or watching the clock count down, like I know people identify with that, but it was really hard for me, like really, really hard for me. And honestly, sometimes I would feel like this crushing anxiety of, wow, is this all there is? This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And I'm only going to have 2 weeks of vacation and just live paycheck to paycheck. Like this, honestly, like there's no meaning to this. Like I couldn't get behind it. It depressed me. Like actually I like went through like really bad depression, anxiety, things like that. And I don't know like how like the Facebook ads found me, but I started getting targeted for Facebook ads about like kind of ominous, like starting your own business. I ended up finding out later that was like for virtual assisting, like, virtual assistant coaches essentially helping you start a virtual assistant business. And I tried that for like a day. It didn't work. That was not for me. But anyway, because I started getting in, like kind of looking into this stuff a bit more, I started getting more and more ads pushed to me. And then eventually an ad got pushed to me about starting a coaching business. And I was like, that's interesting, because I only thought that there were like life coaches and sports coaches. And then, I went through the whole funnel. It was like a freebie about finding your niche and creating your offer. It was so funny. And so I did it. I did the workbook, and I'm like, wait, I think I found my calling. I think this is actually it. Like, I get to work for myself. I get to help other people. I have a niche that makes sense, which at the time was business coaching for people who wanted to leave their full-time jobs. And I just honestly, like, I'm somebody who just takes action pretty immediately. I don't think about things very like strongly. I just do. And so that was what happened there. And that's how I got started. That's my story.
I hear something similar quite a lot, actually, with a lot of my clients who I talk to. So I essentially help people who are stuck in a 9 to 5. Then they know there's something more for them out there, but they haven't got a clue where to even start or begin. And yeah, I had a similar kind of journey myself, really, in terms of I was going from one thing to another, to another, to another, and nothing was working, and I couldn't figure out why it was. But then kind of got clarity around all of that, and then that's kind of what opened up my eyes to the coaching world as well. So yeah, very, really relatable story.
It's such a beautiful.
It's funny that you mentioned the neurodivergence and the ADHD side of things. So I'd never heard of neurodivergent until I started this podcast. And just a couple of weeks ago, we interviewed a coach, Annie Hitchman, who helps women who are neurodivergent and suffer from ADHD. And she was explaining some of the challenges that you can go through, and just eye-opening. Really, really was an eye-opening conversation. And I know a lot of our listeners really, really enjoyed that podcast episode.
Yeah, it helps people feel so seen because, well, from a place of, I think a lot of this industry comes from a place of privilege in many ways. And one of those ways is just not factoring in different brain types, basically, and how people operate. It's like you kind of just expect people to do one thing and it works for everybody. It's just not like that.
Yeah, so she was explaining how if you were giving someone certain instructions, they wouldn't be able to follow those instructions because it wasn't visual for them and all this kind of thing. It was a really good conversation. So tell us a little more about the mindset side of things that you work on with your clients.
Yeah, so one of the biggest things, I feel like I need to give context because, when I mentioned earlier, like a second ago, I am somebody who, when I get excited about something, I just throw myself in, no questions asked. And even before I was a coach, I was like a sales representative. And one of the things that I even noticed back then, so like going way before my coaching days, is how much the mind plays a role in your success. And I started noticing that even when I was selling telecom products. And like I was a top sales rep for my company, and I would just be on top of the world, on top of the world, on top of the world, and then all of a sudden something would knock me down, and then like for a week or two, like I could not make a sale. And then all of a sudden something would pick me up, I would boost momentum, and my brain would get behind it, and then all of a sudden it was like my energy sold for me. I didn't really need to follow a lot of like I don't know if advice is the right word, but like criteria or guidance, things like that about like how to sell more product. Like I could sell with my energy and my conviction. And I guess there's like pros and cons to that, which I don't need to get into right now, but it's just like energy can't always be the thing that sells for you. That's not always like sustainable. So then, when I started getting into coaching, I was so blind and naive when I first started because it was so easy for me to get started. I only had a struggle period for 2 months before I started booking high ticket clients and selling out my offer super fast. And it was just a string of successes after that with like a couple little setbacks. But like I was really solid for a really long time. But one thing that that wasn't permanent. We can talk about that later. But like, through that period where I was really solid, I was also very naive because I started bringing on a lot of clients and I started realizing that not everybody was taking action the way that I did. And it was just like, oh, this is interesting. Like, so I ended up getting certified, which I mean, kind of backwards, but you know, I thrust myself into it with my knowledge and then got certified after because I started realizing that so many people had so many mindset limitations and I didn't know how to handle it. Like, I was just going to help you like create your program and like sell it on Facebook. Like, you know what I mean? But then all of a sudden people had all these really heavy things that they were bringing or feelings of not being good enough or comparing themselves to everybody around them. And I'm like, I am not qualified for this. And it just felt like really big and bigger than I could handle. And so I went and got like certification and coaching. And then that helped a bit. And then I started really immersing myself in my own mindset journey at the same time, which helped me help them more. But it recently got another like improvement because through my own struggles in my business, which I've had over the past couple of years, I've really had to stretch myself and like it's been rough. And then I was noticing it in my clients like in a really, really deep, heavy way, just like with some shifts in the industry and stuff. Like I was a part of a big boom. And I just like again felt like I didn't know how to handle everybody's stuff, including my own. And I'm just like, what is happening? Like I can't do this. And then so I invested in another certification, NLP. I'm not done that yet, so I'm not like totally qualified to talk about that. But I also learned I've been learning a lot about shadow work, which is like the most insane realization that like literally this could be the answer to every single limitation for an entrepreneur. And I'm just like, finally, like there's something that like an actual something that you can hold on to that can help people essentially, for lack of a better phrase, get out of their own way and not suffer from all of these things that are holding them back. But more than that, even like, and I mentioned this at the beginning, I think that entrepreneurship has a way of really bringing up a lot of like just challenging stuff, like honestly trauma in a lot of ways. And it can be very hard to hold all of that. And like, I don't know, when you think about like helping somebody with like, say, sales, like I do, but then you can't, it becomes almost unethical to like not like acknowledge these really challenging things that people are going through that's preventing them from being able to sell. And so learning that was a total game changer for me.
Yeah, that's neuro-linguistic programming is really, I mean, just reading about it is so interesting in itself, but to actually kind of go through it as well is really fascinating. And yeah, the kind of light bulb moments that you have on the journey going through it just on your own as well is really good. You touched on there the kind of things that get brought up with your clients. Are you all right just to talk about a couple of examples as to what people kind of go through? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest one is imposter syndrome. Like that is the biggest one that people face. And I mean, I feel like that's pretty common. You can start an online business, and you know, all of a sudden be met with these feelings of just inferiority everywhere you turn. And so that feelings of being a fraud, like they're not good enough for this, they need more experience, like who are they to teach on these things, like that's a big one. Those are common. Comparison, like that's another one, but that also, like the real phrase, if you actually look at it, is like envy or jealousy. So that's how comparison actually shows up, where it's like, you want what somebody else has, or, it can also go another way where like you can't handle the idea of like for example, like a client hiring your coach or something, like people taking away business from you, things like that. That shows up a lot. Constantly like comparing yourself and um like been like doom scrolling on Instagram and stuff and just like obsessing over somebody else's account and wondering like how they're so smart, how they're saying these things, how they're coming up with these ideas. And then all of a sudden that starts to look like you mirror them by accident, because you're just like so caught up in their stuff instead of your own. um and then ones that just aren't like as commonly known, they're more, I would say, subconscious, is things like greed or entitlement or laziness. Those things come up a lot, but they're usually not like, people are usually aware of those things. They're not like, oh, I'm being greedy. They're saying like, oh, why aren't people buying from me? Like, I'm freaking out. I only had 2 people in. Like, or another one is like, I just had a client get married and she was like feeling some type of way about taking a week off because she was launching. And she's like, I'm afraid I'm going to lose all my momentum. But it's like, what I hear is you're actually being greedy. And so I told her, like, I mean, I tell her that, like, it's fine, but because it's just like, you have to be able to acknowledge these things that are actually coming up. It's like, you just want that one extra sale to like give you a dopamine hit. So it gets pretty deep.
Yeah, I found, I mean, some of my own personal ones that came up was the, who am I to help these people? And there's one that consistently comes up with a lot of my clients, and it's the fact that they feel alone on their journey. Like, and some of them are scared to like put it out there and tell the family that this is something that they want to do and that they're investing in a coach to be able to help them get over that hurdle and take the first step. So those are kind of some of the examples that I've come across, and I think the lonely one really kind of strikes a chord with me from my side, because I kind of felt similar as well, because no one I know really before I got into coaching wanted to do anything like this. My kind of friend circle, group of people I was with, no one was doing anything like this. You know, they've just got the 9 to 5, and I need 9 to 5 as well. And it's just like, it's got to be something more out there. There has to be something more out there for me. And then that's how I got into coaching and met the people that I host a podcast with now. And it's, for me, it's about making sure you try and find that community of people to help you along the way.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the challenges that you've had along your journey then, Jessica?
Oh man. Yeah. So I mean, it's called the Naked Coach Collective for a reason, right? Yeah. Okay. The biggest challenges for me, like, have always kind of shown up in themes. And I won't get into like, you know, the nitty gritties of like why and all of that. I'll name them, but I struggle with inferiority complex. It's like been a thing that I've like struggled with. It's come from childhood and followed me throughout my life. And it really got amplified in this business. And the way that shows up is like the need for validation, or the need to be seen, or the need to be recognized. And one of the things I really struggled with, as mentioned earlier, my business really boomed really fast. And you know, like I was making multiple 6 figures by my second year, and it was just insane. It was a lot of growth. And I started almost finding my momentum off the high of everybody's validation. That was a really big thing for me, which is dangerous. And you know, you start this business with such pure intentions, like it makes sense because you want to help other people. And then you're like, wow. And it's like providing me freedom. So it's like really nice. It feels very innocent. It's almost like childlike in a way. It feels very playful. And all of a sudden it got really big. And I started like making a lot of money really fast, and having people almost like I don't know, like just like validate me all the time. It's kind of like child star problems, you know what I mean? And then I really lost myself, and it hurt my marriage. It hurt my mental health. Like I went into like a really bad depression. I lost like my interests. So like it got
Mm.
heavy, you know what I mean? And that really came to a head. Like I think I was just operating off of that for a long time, but like it really, showed up in things like when I would launch and I like wouldn't make a sale in the first 2 minutes. I'm like, oh my God, I'm terrible. I suck. Like my time has come to an end. Like just being a real
Mm.
jerk to myself. Because like people weren't validating me within 30 seconds. It was bad. And then when I had my son, that's when everything changed for me because I could no longer operate like that. Frankly, I didn't have the capacity anymore to like hold all of that. But B, it's like it was like just a giant mirror just came into my like vortex and was staring at me in the face and be like, where did you go? Like, and then so that was like a 2-year process of really struggling, honestly. And I really like had a hard time in my business. My sales went down. Um, I felt like I like kind of honestly forgot how to run business, even though, funnily enough, and this had never happened before, my clients were like quote unquote doing better than me. And that had never happened, which I mean, like I didn't make it mean anything, but it was just an interesting observation. So it was like I still had all the
Mm.
knowledge to teach and share and coach, but like I wasn't able to apply it for myself. And that resulted in like endless pivots, constant pivots over and over and over again. Um, Honestly, just like really not liking myself, like that's a thing. And then being like, I want to be a present mother, like I want to be there for my son. I don't want to like be in the room with him, but like my brain is thinking about content or like my launch. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is like gross. And yeah, like I kind of feel like I hit a rock bottom, like where I literally went to urgent care for like these chest pains. Like I didn't know what was wrong with me. Found out everything was fine, and it was literally just like crippling
Mm.
anxiety. And I'm like, something has to change. Like otherwise, I'm gonna quit. So I think it became like bigger than
Mm.
me, if that makes sense. And then I like lost myself, and it all just like crashed and burned. So that was literally my challenges. But I mean, it is I feel like this actually is the case for a lot of people, but a lot of
Don't
people
want to admit,
don't want
yeah.
to admit it. So yeah, so that's the thing. So hopefully, like, by me being as honest as I possibly can, it will help other people not feel so alone who are struggling with this, because this can happen even at an early stage of business.
Yeah. No, thank you
So
for that. And what was
yeah.
it that helped you get through to the other side of that then?
hmm Yeah. Ooh. Um, like a massive self-discovery journey. Like I really like that's like at the core of it, like where it was really like I was really like I had to hit a I don't want people to ever have to hit a rock bottom the way that I did. Hopefully they can just commit to the practice like regularly to avoid that from happening, and like connect to their values. That was a big thing too, is like, okay, actually, yeah, I have like a more tangible answer. I mean, I think it's all relative, but you know, one of the things that really started to help me kind of see the light, so to speak, was like reconnecting with my values. And I mean, yes, that did really start to look at me once I had my son, but it was like my biggest values are freedom and family. And my business was not operating within my
Mm.
values at all. Like I could say that, but it wasn't. And like my marriage was suffering. I wasn't present with my son. Like my mental health was suffering. I was not free because my brain was like, maybe I wasn't constantly like in my business, but like my brain was. So it was like the first priority of everything. So I had to like really reconnect back with my values, connect with my vision of where I saw my life and what kind of life I wanted. And then also like connecting that with my priorities. Like what was I prioritizing? You know what I mean? But that all really worked together. Um, and I feel like that could only even be possible to do that by really getting to know myself again and like what I wanted. And again, kind of like almost a visual, like there's this picture that I just love. I found it one day just like when scrolling on Facebook or something. And it's just this like visual. And I'm like, I swear this was just meant to find me today. And I have it saved in my phone. I look at it sometimes. And it's literally like a husband, a wife, and their son like hugging in like this like beautiful little like country setting in front of a house. It's a drawing. And I'm like, this is literally the life I want. Like this, it's this picture right here. And it's literally my life because, you know, I have a husband and a son. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, everything, like nothing I'm doing is actually like connecting with this image. And so it was like, I feel like that was like, it was a weird visual, like reset for me, like a rewire. And it was just like, wow. Um, and then that was when I really started, I think it was a turning point for me to really get to know myself again and what I wanted, and was constantly asking myself, like, you know, if fear wasn't involved, if I wasn't afraid to do what I wanted in this moment, if nothing was holding me back, what would I do now? What would I do now? What would I do now? And I was questioning this every day, allowing myself to get really honest about it with myself and kind of get rid of maybe anything that ego
Mm.
was trying to feed to me as truth and like get to the core, which is a challenging thing to do. But I think if more people were willing and courageous to do it, it would lead to a lot happier
Yeah,
people.
absolutely. And that kind of aligns with pretty much exactly what I do for my clients, which is identifying those kind of core values and then helping them build a
Yeah.
vision and purpose around those core values and a business from there. Because it's so important to have that. And like you, I've got a picture right there in front of me of exactly what it is that I want.
Oh,
So yeah, it's so important to have
yeah.
visuals as reminders for you as well. So just
Yeah.
yeah, go on.
And I was gonna say
No, go on.
too, oh sorry, I was gonna say too, in the topic of NLP, that kind of just reminds me because, you know, you can, that's like a, what I've learned anyway, it's like an anchoring
Mm,
process as well. And so something like I know could be really helpful for anybody who resonates is, you know, when you feel yourself slipping, and it's like good that you help people with that at the core, because they could always have that, like, and if they have that visual, they have that to at least anchor into to bring them back. Because the truth is, this industry really can make people
yeah,
lose themselves if they get caught up in the wrong things.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, I
Yeah,
just want to
thank
bring
you.
that up.
So did you, as you were going through that journey, then was you essentially coaching yourself, or did you have a coach?
Oh yeah, I've always had a coach. Like my whole 5 years. Um, One thing I will say though, like, okay, so two things. One, yes, I have a coach. I've always had a coach. I love having a coach. I love having somebody to just bring my stuff to. I value it so deeply, obviously. But learning to self-coach is also a very powerful tool, and you have like endless space to, well, endless, but that's a stretch, but you know, you're not limited to like
Mm,
45 minutes or 60 minutes. So I think having a combo of both the knowledge to coach yourself, but also of course investing in a coach, is just a very powerful combination. And that's what I did. I kind of used the power of both to help
yeah,
me through it.
excellent. Um, so we've touched on what has been a struggle for you, but what's been kind of your biggest success, however that success looks for you?
Yeah. Yeah. So I always come, I'll be really specific because I do specialize in high ticket sales. Um, Mastering that has been so good for me because of the fact that it has led to a lot of spaciousness in my life. And then being able to also practice the mindset stuff as well as just like I book high ticket clients. that helps with the mental freedom as well. So it's like this nice combination. And I know one thing that people look to me and see, and they're just like, wow, like, how do you do that? Is the fact that I'm able to book these really high paying clients. And that like contributes to freedom for me. And it also like is a testament to how much like strength I've been able to build in my belief systems of myself. And I'm not saying like you just charge a ton of money and like gouge people. It's not that, obviously. But, you know, the fact that I can book $25,000 clients, which is like, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, if I would know that now, I'd be like, are you freaking mental? Like, I wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't have even known people were doing that. And then once I started to dabble in like a premium high ticket price point, like everything like kind of up leveled for me, and that felt really successful. To be able to not just charge those kinds of prices, but bring really, really great clients in who are, and like just like kind of the like, wow, like what people can make happen when they really like value something and believe in something. And I say that with like so much love in my heart, because some people could listen to this and be like, it's not lost on me that some people think those kinds of prices are maybe manipulative or unethical. Like, I know all of that. But it's really amazing what can happen when, you kind of have a cleaner mindset about it. And I would say like that contributes to some of my greatest successes, because it's such an achievement for me. Like, I grew up in a trailer park and my family did not have money, and I wore hand-me-down clothes as a kid. And, I was not quote unquote textbook smart. So, or like that's how I perceive myself anyway. And so I didn't go to like a good school and get like a good degree so I could go on to get a job that made me a lot of money. Like, I was always living paycheck to paycheck, struggling. And that was where I placed myself. And that's what I decided was always going to be my reality. And so, like, obviously the good work that we do aside, like that's an achievement in itself. Like, how many people's lives I've changed, and how many people who I've been able to help get like more money in their hands, more freedom, better lives. Like, that's so freaking incredible. But that starts with like the achievements I've been able to make, and like how I see myself, and the mental resilience and growth that I've had to do so that I can help other people see themselves that way too, and get more money in their hands and help them build better lives. So it does kind of start there. And so to me, like, that's such a big success for me, because it just shows what's possible in this industry. It's like truly unlimited. Like, it's insane. It's insane, but you just have to be careful.
Yeah.
Warning.
What advice would you give to a brand new newbie coach? They've just figured out that coaching is what they want to do. What is the one or two nuggets of information that and advice you'd give to them?
Oh my gosh, I love this question, because it takes me like 5 years back. So I honestly, I would say that you want to make sure. I'm in a multi-passionate membership. I feel like I need to put an asterisk on this, what I'm about to say, because I'm a multi-passionate. I love doing all the things. But one thing when you're first starting out and you're trying to build credibility is to really hone in on the one thing you're really, really good at, and like you've essentially mastered. So, because that's going to set you up for success right away. A lot of people who are new in coaching, for example, life coaching, they're like, well, I can help everybody and I can help them do all the things. I can help them with relationships, their weight, feeling fulfilled, their career. It's like that's a lot to have to market, and it's going to lead to imposter syndrome, confusion, lack of creativity. You're never going to know what to talk about. So I would say to like really think about, I don't know if like if traits is the right word, but really think about like what lights you up. It's not necessarily about like the type of person you're targeting right now, but it's just more like what areas of focus, like, do you feel like maybe you have mastery over and that you have a story for and that you are really, really good at, and like start there and hone in on that and get really good at that. Because it's just going to make it so much easier to market, as you can talk about like one thing in many different angles. The second thing is build a community around your topic. So, you know, I'm specialist in online marketing, not in person, but it's like, so, you want to be able to build a community of people who really like value what you're saying and trust you around your topic. And the way that I would honestly do that is to just start by giving for free in your content, get practice too. Like, practice is always going to be good and it's going to help you to build connections. And like, I still do that 5 years in. Like, I just offered a bunch of free coaching calls. It's like you're never really beyond that. So, these are things that you can do to help like build your credibility, get practice, get better, put yourself out there, but like build a community through your content too on a platform of your choice, 1 to 2, doesn't need to be all of them. But like where your audience is hanging out, and like give a value-driven experience through your content. Just give, for like a while, like maybe a couple months even. And then you never know, A, where that will lead, but then C, once you have the community, the content, the niche, the trust, that's when people will start wanting to buy from you. So then, it makes sense to start selling your offer, which you should create an offer as well. So like create your offer and create the messaging for the offer. And it gets to be very simple. So it's just like, know who it's for, know what problems your offer solves, know how it acts as a solution and what you do to get them to where they want to be, as well as, of course, what they want as an outcome from that offer. And you would like the length would be however long the transformation takes. And the same with the features, like whatever's required to help them. And then you can meet yourself there too with like what you want to give based on like the life you want, etc. You can like find a happy medium. So honestly, that's what I would say. It's pretty simple. It's just about taking action at the beginning.
Nice. Excellent. Thank you for that. And final question before we wrap up is, for anyone who is looking for a coach, what advice would you give to them?
Yeah, so I would definitely make sure that you I've seen people do this on Facebook groups and stuff. They'll just be like, "Hey, I'm looking for a coach. Any advice?" Like, I mean, that's fine, but what I would actually do is start following some coaches in your industry, or just like in general, like whatever you need help with, if it's like business, marketing, social media, whatever, just start following different coaches. And then see whose values align to yours. I think that's really important. Coaching, you have to be compatible with the coach. A coach-client relationship doesn't work very well if there's an incompatibility. You don't need to be the same person, and you don't need to have all of the same values. I disagree with my coach all the time. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like we do want to have a coach who honors our value systems and can really like understand us. And I mean, another thing I will say too is to hire a coach. I would recommend hiring a coach who, for lack of a better phrase, knows how to coach. This industry, because it's unregulated, there's a lot of people in the industry, and this can lead to like kind of sour relationships or distaste of the coaching industry, etc. But if more people got qualified, and it doesn't even need to be these huge like certification programs or anything, but they just had some understanding of actually how to hold space ethically for a client, that's big too. So you can always ask what their qualifications are. I think that's just smart. And so yeah, that compatibility. And if they, I mean, it sounds so obvious, but if they know how to help you with the thing you need the help with, so like know what you need help with. If you're like, I'm so bad at social media and I don't know what to do, hire a coach who's like good at social media. You know what I mean? Like, just because it's going to take the relationship further, because coaching naturally, they mentor as well a lot of times. And so like I wouldn't want to hire a coach who like didn't have a freaking clue about, let's just like my truth. Like I just wouldn't, not for business. Like I'd want to know that the coach had a clue about business and has had client results and has taken them from A to B, and maybe that they even got those results too for themselves. But either way, like those are the kinds of things I know I would be looking for. And I think that's a smart thing to look for, especially when you're new. So you can have like a really good relationship with your coach and you can actually see
Absolutely.
results.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Jessica. And so just as we wrap it up then, tell our listeners what you've got going on now.
Right now, like what I have actively going on would be my membership. So it's the Leisurely Business Coaching membership, or Leisurely Coaching Business membership. And it's really for those who are looking to book clients in their online coaching business from a foundational level. So in that program, we meet twice a month. You get monthly trainings. There's a Slack channel where you can ask questions in between. I've really provided a lot of opportunities to get like the various types of support that you need without breaking your budget. And that's really important to me, just because of, you know, my journey, and I know how beneficial it is for those who are just getting started and just need somebody to ask questions to and learn like how to get from A to B from an earlier stage. So that would be where I would recommend looking me up.
Excellent. Thank you.
And you can just ask me about that on Instagram, by the way, but I'll also send Ian.
Excellent. Thank you. And I can also firsthand say how good the value is in that membership area, as I am a member myself. It's really incredible value. Okay.
Thank you, Ian.
I think that's a wrap then. So thank you very much, Jessica. Really appreciate you joining us, and thank you, listeners, for joining us on another episode of the Naked Coach Collective. Cheers, Jessica.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.